the three I've mentioned for organizing this event. Just a quick one, a word on IASAS that I can share with everybody in the room here. You're all familiar with IASAS being a voluntary organization across the globe. We have 1,750 members in 95 countries across the globe. So there's an immense reach and spread of interest and voices and models and thoughts, what makes IASAS so rich. I mean, IASAS is in that way the only sort of truly international organization that doesn't borrow or that doesn't rest too much on its own models and doesn't impose models, but really wants to listen to the local voices, to the indigenous voices, and give power to these. A quick mention on how this webinar fits into the overall IASAS agenda. IASAS aims to support professional development and supports community of practice. And our approach to professional development is linked somewhat to just the competencies we require to do our work, but also to Kobe's 2015 writing. I don't know if anybody of you know his critical professional development. And Kobe speaks very well, I should say they speak very nicely about the idea of professional development, having competencies that are relevant to the task, to the work we need to do, but equally at the same time being aware of our context and the issues that are surrounding the university and the setting and the institutions and the students, in order to kind of give deep acknowledgement to the contextualized nature of our students and of our institutions. So we're hoping to not just professionally develop, but also develop a critical awareness of professional competencies, meaning that we become aware of the context into which our students are embedded. And just a quick comment on today's theme, which of course is research, and Professor Matete Madiba is here, a dear colleague from UWC in Cape Town in South Africa, and she will speak a little bit about research with Mary Ann, of course. And research in our domain is important for the very reason that we need to have our own voice developed. We need to develop our own evidence that matters in our environment, in our context. So we do have a lot of research and knowledge and models and so forth in student affairs, but they tend to come from quite sort of a homogeneous group and a homogeneous domain. Whereas, so developing research and voices from around the globe in the way we're doing here today is very, very important to generating evidence and research for our student affairs domain. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm very, very much looking forward to the webinar now. And I want to give special thanks to Abigail, Miriam, Mary Ann, and of course, Professor Madiba for speaking today. And thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Dr. Brigitte, for that opening and welcome. So now we're going to place folks into breakout rooms so we have an opportunity to get to know who's in the room, your institution, and maybe just something that you've been working on. It could be something that you're working on in your professional role, something that you're working on personally, maybe a goal that you have, but just for your other colleagues to get an idea of something that you're working on. So I am going to ask Dr. Lisa to open the breakout rooms for us, and I will put the prompt in the chat as well, and we'll have about 5 minutes to do this. So I know it's, quick, but just an opportunity for us to, make this call a little bit smaller with some introductions.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and join. Let's see. I'll go ahead and join somewhere. Abigail.
Okay. No
Fernando,
problem.
join in if you want to. Let's
Yep.
see. Can you see it in co-host too? Just checking. I'm just trying to figure out.
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I'm going to join room just for like about 4 minutes since we don't have much time. I'll join room 5.
Okay.
Oh, we have Lisa with us.
Oh,
Quickly. Oh my gosh, look at it. It's Miriam and Professor Matete.
Yeah.
Hi. Is this Quezzy? Queasy?
Yes, this is Chrissy. Yes.
Hi, Queasy.
Yeah.
Nice
How are
to meet
you?
you. I'm
Nice meeting
good.
you. Wonderful.
Where are you located?
So I am currently in Maryland, University of Maryland College Park. I am a PhD student in higher education, student affairs, and international education policy. And I'm glad to meet you all. I used to work with Association of African Universities back in Ghana. And so my role was moving around the continent, supporting student affairs practitioners and establishing like a formal practice in other countries that do not really have student affairs professionals. And also, I was glad to work with Dr. Madiba for a while before I came to school.
Oh, that's so awesome. Look at the connections. And
Yeah,
Queasy, I have to talk to you about the African Association because I think they're interested with IASAS. I just haven't had a chance to
wonderful.
follow up. But anyway,
Absolutely.
okay.
Yes.
Anyone
Great.
else introduce himself?
Want me to go?
Sure.
yes.
Yeah, Miriam. Currently in Doha, Qatar. It's like my fourth year with Northwestern University here in Qatar. I used to be in Dubai before, 11 years with the American University in Dubai. I'm the Director of Academic Advising and Student Success. Something I'm working on, I'm gonna be presenting at the next conference in Malta, the UCA NASPA one, about building bridges between academic affairs and student affairs. And I'm currently working on a proposal that has to do with the challenges and advantages of integrating AI in student affairs.
Great. I'm Lisa. I'll introduce myself because I'm gonna have to leave in a minute to make sure everyone's okay because some new people came into the main room. Some of you guys already know me, Quizzy, though. I'm the Secretary General for IASAS. I've had 30-year career in student affairs, senior administration for 20 in the United States, Florida, and New York. And then I was in United Arab Emirates. And I just left there and I'm doing teaching full-time for Purdue Global, well, not full-time, more than kind of part-time. And then I do IASAS projects. And then in the fall, I'll be the executive dean for semester at sea. So it's a short term. So I'm looking at short-term projects. But I will talk to you by email, Queasy.
Yes, absolutely. Great.
Okay, I'm gonna leave just this room.
I
Thank
just
you.
wanted to add that the reason I'm with IASIS is because of Lisa.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's sweet. I love working with Miriam. Okay. How much longer do you want to say? Someone
Uh,
new?
yeah, someone else just joined. I put them in. I'm about to close them now.
Okay, you're gonna close them. You want to send them a
How
message?
was it? How was it in your?
It was nice.
Was nice. Okay, I'll give them one more minute.
Okay, just on one more minute, but it takes you 60 minutes to close anyway. So you're gonna
Oh yeah,
close?
6 seconds. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Okay. Exciting. Yeah, it's so fun.
Yeah.
Just met Queasy, so we have to talk.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Eileen. We're coming back together. We were just in breakouts, short, so you'll be just in time. Do I have to hit record again? Do you know? I think so.
Yeah, I think no, it's recording because you came back to the chat, so it
Oh,
says recording.
perfect. Okay. I think it follows me.
I think yeah, it does. Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. Just waiting for everyone to end. Okay. I think everyone is back now. Awesome. I know that was quick, but I hope that was a great short introduction to get to know some new colleagues, maybe somebody you can follow up with online, on LinkedIn, via email. So awesome opportunity. So now I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Lisa, who's just going to give us some highlights from our global summit that we had this past May. Wow, yeah, in South Korea. I know some of you here were on the chat. We're also there as well. So Dr. Lisa, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Abigail. Yes, I can't believe it. That was in May. So we held our 7th Global Summit of Student Affairs and Services. It was hosted with the help of the Korean Student Aid Foundation. COSAF is a quasi-government organization in South Korea dedicated to supporting student access through financial and academic initiatives. And boy, did they play a pivotal role and an amazing role in hosting us. And it was just amazing to see the partnerships also between the government and higher education institutions in South Korea and the importance of that to our work. So we were in Daegu, South Korea. There were 220 attendees from approximately 40 countries. And we had amazing discussion around our theme, educational institutions and student affairs driving sustainable change. We also had some of the things that COSAF provided for us was tours of government-sponsored universities, lecture halls, libraries. It was a unique opportunity for us as student affairs professionals to learn more about what's happening in South Korea and the institution and with COSAF and the driving inspiration they are in supporting student success. We had inspiring keynotes. We had Professor Joanna Garib, Vice President of International Association of Universities and President of the University of Matete in Tunisia. She opened the summit by emphasizing the critical role of student affairs, promoting global citizenship and intercultural understanding. She talked about how important the SDGs was for our universities to emphasize and to work towards for student success and social justice. Then we had Professor Birgit Phillips, Director of Higher Education and Didactics and AI at Joanneum, I'm thinking I didn't do well on pronouncing that, in Graz, Austria. And boy, her session about the potential of AI was really inspiring, but it was also critical analysis of thinking about it and how important it could be to possibly student engage in academic success, but also there's risks and opportunities that are associated with AI. We had as we do, a student panel from some students from Gwangwon University and Seoul National University. And we talked about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging in South Korea on their campuses and beyond. We had 2 professionals, practitioners, Stephanie and K.S. Kim played a critical role in staging this dialogue. And we had panels and networking sessions from mental health to the role of technology in student engagement. And again, we focused on education for sustainable development, the SDGs, social justice, and the professionalization of student affairs. In the Asia region, we have wonderful models of student services and student affairs, and we had them present at sessions as well, especially the Asia region and the associations that are members of IASAS. We got to recognize our new president, Birgit Schreiber, and she got to introduce us and speak to us about her plans for the future. And last but not least, we had amazing gala with showcase of BTS, of course you would expect that in South Korea, K-pop music, and we had excursions to the UNESCO sites. We were so happy to and grateful to COSAF and all they offered us in exchanging ideas and culture. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lisa. I know you tried to share it within 5 minutes, but it was truly an amazing experience of networking and learning. So hopefully folks can join us at our next Global Summit. All right, so now I have the esteemed honor of introducing our guest speaker today. So Professor Matete Madiba is a member of the University of Western Cape's executive team, where she holds a position of Deputy Vice Chancellor, Student Development and Student Support. She holds the position of Associate Professor, Faculty of Education, Business, and Science Education Cluster. She was previously appointed as Deputy Director, Education, Innovation, and thereafter Director, Student Affairs at the University of Pretoria. Her research and development interests are in higher education, transformation, and innovation, including policy, curriculum development, student success, holistic student development, co-curricular design, student leadership development, and the use of technology in higher education. She has led innovative projects on curriculum mapping and analytics, student online elections and e-voting, and the development and implementation of a mental health bot. She was part of a task team that led the writing of the UP curriculum, transformation framework, and she chaired the UP Institutional Transformation Committee for 3 years. She previously served as a higher education learning and teaching of South Africa, as a chair, of that organization. And she recently received a leadership award, yay, from the South Africa Association of Senior Student Affairs Professionals in recognition of her contribution and leadership in the association. She currently serves as a guest editor for Journal of Student Affairs in Africa, and previously as a guest editor for South African Journal of Higher Education. She's also a researcher, mentor, and supervisor. She was the project leader for Up Girls for Girls project, a mentoring and leadership project for young women aimed at promoting gender equity. She participating in Tune in Africa, a project of the African Union on the harmonization of degrees across the continent. And she has collaborated with international partners across a number of universities, including a university in Netherlands, DISTU University in Spain, the Open University in the UK, and New York University, where she has also done guest lecturing. So thank you so much, Professor, for joining us today. And we're so excited for you to engage us in our topic this morning. And guess, just so you know, at the end of Professor's talk, we'll have the opportunity to ask some questions in the chat as well. So I'll hand it over to you.
Oh, thank you so much. Let me just get to the beginning. I'm conscious that the clock is ticking and it doesn't seem like the time is that much, but let's see what we can do. I am really honored to join in this manner. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone in the room, depending on your time zone. I got a scare that for me, it would be 7 a.m. and I thought I would do this talk in my PJs. But then later I realized, no, it's midday, it's lunchtime. I'm really honored. I would like to talk to you about scholarship. I believe you're doing this. I just want to, stoke and kind of instigate more action around scholarship for the kind of people that I believe share this citizenship that I have in higher education. South African, in South Africa, the association is SASAP, and this would be for practitioners in student affairs. But we are talking about people who are in universities and who provide support to students and provide services to students, I believe, basically aimed at student success. So the argument that I'm making is if we just check our identity, who we are, we might realize that we should be at the center of the academy, at the center of the academic project, not on the periphery, as most of us are made to believe. You know, when universities talk about their mission traditionally and in a conservative way, they talk about teaching and learning, or learning and teaching, research and community engagement. And with just these three areas of the, traditional definition of a university and its mission, a lot of us sometimes feel, relegated to the periphery. It is as if we are not that important. And that is why I believe that we must just be careful, check our identity. And I believe if we do this, and we do it carefully, we'll realize that we belong to the center, even if some universities are that conservative in defining themselves in that way. I wish that as I continue, you could just in the chat put your designation in your university. What is the title that you have received? I hope to see the variety, but out of that, you will see, the spectrum that covers people like us who do this kind of work. And it is important that we understand with those designations, what is really, our role and what is actually our identity for us to be able to do our work. I just want to say, I like revisiting these names that our universities give to us, because I believe, against what Shakespeare said, that which we call a rose does not just, smell as sweet. So we should often interrogate the designations and the namings that are used, so that we can always find ways of positioning ourselves correctly. So I hope you'll keep on going and putting in your designation, your title, your job title in your university. Because I think there is something that we need to interrogate. But as we do that, I just want to say, as student affairs and student support or student services practitioners, we need to remind ourselves about this practitioner label. I believe even if you get to an administrative role, if you've been a practitioner, you remain a practitioner even in your administrative role. So, but what is a practitioner? It is someone who's learned everything about their field and is actively working in that field. So you are working in that field, and I think people will be right to consider you as an expert. And as an expert, it means you should also be belonging to some kind of knowledge group, and we can talk about, being part of a profession. So you can claim to be a professional as much as you can claim to be a practitioner. But these lovely designations of being a professional, of being a practitioner, also come with responsibilities, because I believe that for this area of work, we should rightfully so consider ourselves practitioners and professionals. And as we embrace this role, we should also realize that that practitioner professional role also suggests that we should be scholars, and we should engage in thoughtful and intentional ways of, informing our work. And that is why we cannot run away from research and think that it is for others in the academy and not for us. So we should consider ourselves to be scholars if we believe we are practitioners and we are professionals, especially those that work in universities. We cannot survive true identity and be able to occupy our spaces if we do not see ourselves as scholars, even if we are involved in these other areas more than just the traditional classroom where we teach biology or data analytics, or those subjects that are associated with the formal programs that our students register for. I believe we are scholars, given the type and the nature of work that we have to do. And as scholars, we have to engage in systematic, evidence-based way of doing our work. We should be people who forever frame questions and provide answers. And just having questions and exploring them and providing answers That is the work of a scholar. And in a university, that is the work that we should be paid to do. I know that our work sometimes pull us to operations and logistics and practicalities. Yes, we need to do that. But because we work in this knowledge space, we should find ways of considering ourselves scholars and get committed towards being very systematic in how we work, we do our work, especially through framing questions and providing answers. And I just want to challenge you here. This I love doing to my family, to my friends, to my colleagues, and say, if you are doing any kind of professional work, you should really consider yourself a scholar. And if you do, scholars read a great deal. You cannot claim to be a scholar if you don't read. Where are you going to find the knowledge that you need? So I believe that you should read and be able to reference, the work that you read. But as you also read so that the opinions and the judgments that you get are affirmed, if not confirmed. And because you get that confirmation and affirmation from other authors who've done work, maybe at a deeper level than you, as they confirm, you're able to cite and reference their work. And you don't just go around offering your opinions and your judgments, but whatever you share is kind of, confirmed and affirmed by others. And in order to find those affirmations, you have to be a reader who explores what is available. We read classics, we read newbies, we read for confrontation, we confront our own ideas, we read for contradiction so that we do not become so narrow-minded and naive. We challenge our own thinking, we critique our own thinking, we read for clarity of thought. And that is why we cannot avoid reading. And I talk about the 6 C's of why we should read as scholars. But I also talk and think about this 7th C, which I think is so critical to our work. We read for conceptual and theoretical clarity because the work that we do should be framed accordingly. And we have to read for conceptual and theoretical frameworks and underpinnings to support the work that we do. I know this is a serious area of critique for people like us, that even when we try to publish our work, the editors and the reviewers will be saying, your work lacks substance because it is not framed appropriately or it is not underpinned by, theoretical frameworks out there. And this is an area that we need to watch over. And we shouldn't get stuck and say, but what do I do? Where do I even find this conceptual and theoretical frameworks that are relevant to the work that I do? You get to, be exposed to what is existing out there, and you get to be equipped to even develop new ones if you become such a ravenous reader and reading the kind of stuff that should support your work. Our work is really complex. The challenges that we have to solve in our universities are way beyond, what you can just tackle with your own thinking. That is why you can't just shoot from the hip and, quickly come up with an intervention and put resources together. You are going to be very wasteful and you're going to be disappointed if the impact does not achieve what should be achieved. We are dealing with complex challenges. That is why we have, people who've become so creative. People talk about VUCA or bunny or rapt or tuna, or, they talk about global crisis, but we also have the Sustainable Development Goals, which remind us about the key issues that we should be tackling. But when you look at all these fancy acronyms and what people say, you cannot miss the fact that we work in environments that are full of uncertainty. The environment we work in is unpredictable. Working within crisis has come to be the norm. We have just emerged out of COVID. In South Africa, we had load shedding. We can go on and name the crisis that we have to operate within and operate through. We cannot throw our hands and say, but it is so difficult. When we become scholars, we find all the tools that we need to support ourselves, and then we are able to participate accordingly, frame questions, and find answers because we are scholars. If I had time, I would provide you with this example. Jonathan Johnson is a popular read in South Africa in terms of the work that he does. But when I read this book, especially, when it was still hot off the press, what I really enjoyed is, instead of just telling us stories about higher education in South Africa and this phenomenon of universities becoming dysfunctional, he took time to carve out a conceptual framework upon which he was going to present, all the stories. You might be looking for juicy stuff out of his book about, what happened, who stole the money, fraud here and there, but he really does it in a very scholarly way, and he crafts a conceptual framework in order to present the trends that he has studied through dysfunctionality in those universities. And that is a good example of why we need to read and equip ourselves with tools, be able to work with existing and theoretical frameworks, and where we find a gap, we should be able to craft a new conceptual framework or even a theoretical framework to support the kind of work that we do. Because yes, our work is complex, it is deep, but it needs us to be serious about finding the tools to deal with it. Scholars read for writing. If you struggle with writing, especially academic writing or writing for publication, I have a cure. And I want to claim that I have that magic bullet. It is just reading. If you read more, about what other people have shared, have published, and you read, you take the journals where you want to publish, and you read deeply, there is no way that you can continue to say, but I'm a poor writer. And there is no way that you can continue to get very rough reviews. If you want to reduce that harshness of reviews coming your way, read and read as a scholar. Because as you read, you refine, you confirm, you challenge yourself, and you even learn what it means to write an academic article. You get to a place where when you have written an article and you have scrutinized it yourself, reviewers don't have much to say except, okay, we are ready to accept it. And I just want to challenge you that there is that close relationship between reading and writing, especially academic reading and academic writing. If I had time, I would ask you, what are you currently reading? Are you reading something currently that speaks to your work, that challenges you to do your work better, that challenges you to have more ideas and better ideas than you've had in the past? If you're not, I think you should really consider being a reader who time and again finds something new for yourself, even if it's a classic, new for yourself, and don't allow time just to pass by without you deepening yourself in the area, in the knowledge areas within which you are supposed to be working. You need to find the journals of your interest, those that are closely relevant to your work, and you need to claw in and read. You need to make sure that you have the right subscriptions. I'm aware of the sharkish subscriptions out there that kill our university budgets, but find ways of having access to what you have to read. And this builds you as the person who is in this area and who will be able to make a meaningful contribution. Here, I wanted to give examples of conceptual frameworks that others have found to be so useful for the kind of work that we do. At some stage, I realized that part of my work involves evaluation. So I started reading about realistic evaluation. And as I got to read into that, I was then drawn into critical realism and social realism. And it just broadens your horizons. And when you do your own research, you find tools to support you. I just want to check how far we are doing in terms of time.
I think I can give you about 2 more minutes.
Thank you. I want to round up. Yes, thank you. So these are examples, and we do have people in this area that we are in who have appropriated, existing theoretical frameworks out there, and they have really used them to talk to the kind of work that we do. So we don't have excuses to just talk about the practical arrangements that we put in our universities to solve the problems as we have them. We should be grounding our work within the kind of knowledge tools that are available there. When we do that, we will be able to answer these complex questions better. But it doesn't even start there. We'll be able to frame our questions in a more meaningful way and then work towards answers that are in quality far much better than just thinking of the practical, challenges that we're dealing with, and then the practical arrangements that we need to put in. Or that we need to put for our colleagues. These are just examples of more the kind of theoretical tools and conceptual tools that are out there. But my message is we have to engage in scholarship. It will inform our work, and it will put us at the center of the academy. I always want to dream of a scenario where a lecturer who considers herself to be at the core of the university, when they have to cite my work in order to make sense of the challenges their students are facing, and they have to cite my work as a way of working through. And when that happens, you can imagine then we become at the center of the academy. We are no longer put at the periphery, and people like us have to work harder. I know in many other universities, we don't get the benefits of those who are considered to be pure academics. We don't get enough leave, or we don't get enough support, but that is not even an excuse, because in the universities that I've worked in, even those that consider themselves at the heart of the university complain about they don't have time for scholarship. They don't have enough resources for scholarship. They'll talk about, the amount of marking that they have to do and all of that. But yet, when we work in a university, we cannot avoid being scholars. But when you get into the mode of being a scholar, there is so much to enjoy as you get your clarity of mind, as you get the confirmation of what you've always considered to be your intuitive knowledge, and you are able to reference it and cite other authors who've done more work. And you find your tools to do your own. And I hope that you'll be encouraged to just get into this journey and not let time slip away out of your fingers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Matete. That was really insightful and really helps us to frame or practice as being scholars. Any questions? We have time for about one or two questions. Any questions from any of our guests? No? Okay. And if anyone has... Oh, sorry. Yes, go ahead.
I was just saying I have been really inspired in terms of the importance of reading and how it could impact what you do and how you do what you do. So thank you very much for that.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Anyone else? All right. So thank you so much again, Professor Matete. And now I'm gonna hand over to Dr. Marianne Bodine, and she is going to introduce our new global consortium.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you all. It's 6-ish this morning. It's early for me. A warm 38 degrees Fahrenheit. I hope some of you are having better weather than that, right? But I am excited to be here today, and I'm excited to share with you about IASAS Global Consortium. Since we're talking about research, why not create a platform so that we can engage? And you'll see some of this on our website, so don't worry, this will come back to you. But let's talk just a little bit about what a consortium is, right? When one person doesn't have the resources to do all the things that they would like to do, they can do it better when they work in a group. And I don't have the resources to travel to all the places in the world that I would like to spend the amount of time that I would need to figure out how to create a web of international research partners. So with IASAS, we can come together on a platform on our website and create a landing space where we can share what we do in research and get to know each other in that way. And that's really what our consortium is. So if you're wondering why it might be a good idea to participate, I just want you to know that there's a lot of opportunities for you and for others globally, because you're going to get to learn about unique experiences that others are having. You can do some comparative work with one another, looking at what's going on at your institution and what's going on at someone else's institution on the other side of the world. This is a great space for practitioner research, where we can really talk and do things that are going to impact the institutions where we're at and the work that we're individually doing. We can create some greater trust within communities through research, and we can also empower each other in that space. So a lot of people have said to me, well, what if I'm new to research, or I'm a graduate student, or I'm an administrator, or I'm a practitioner and I've never done research, or I'm a faculty and I'm not sure how to connect? I just want to say to you that that is absolutely okay. And the great thing about this is when we reach out, we know that we're going to help each other in the process. So we can think of it as a space also to mentor each other and grow our own research skills. Um, kind of working outside of the box. I've also had some individuals ask me, what's my commitment if I do this? And I'm going to say to you that your commitment is what you put into it. You can be as committed or non-committed as you want to be. When you add yourself to the list, others can reach out to you and you can reach out to others. You can be choosy about who you connect with, or you can connect with a lot of individuals to try to do something in a group research project. But the commitment really and truly is up to you. How long is your commitment? Well, since it's up to you, it's as long as you want it to be, but at least once a year, I will send out a survey saying, hey, do you want to stay in or do you want to opt out? Do you want to stay on our list or come off? Or if you want to be removed at some point, you can just email me directly and I can take you off the list. I do believe that sharing is caring. And so we hope that if you join the consortium and you seek partnerships, that you'll let us know so that we can celebrate with you, that you'll consider submitting the work that you're doing to the IASAS Global Summit and present that work internationally, right? That you'll give us some credit for the match that you've made when you do your publication, and that you'll let us help you advertise that work, or maybe do a blog or a posting or maybe a video, something where we can share what you did and how you connected in an international space. So how can you participate? I put a code on here, so this will take you straight to the webpage. But first, we'd ask that if you're not a member, that you either become an effective or an observant member. And then that you fill out our Google Forms so that we can get some information about you that we can share with others, so that they can see the type of work that you're doing, where your interests are, and then you all can connect in that way. We definitely want your permission. So when you fill out that form, we ask if you will give us permission to share your information. And just so you know, this isn't open to the World Wide Web. Not everybody's going to get that. You have to be a member of the consortium to have access. I have a Google Excel sheet that has limited permissions for viewing, so only those in the consortium will be able to look and match with individuals from other places in the world. And then you could just browse the page, identify individuals who share like-minded problems that they would like to research, and reach out and connect with one another. Really, the consortium only works if you work with it. So it's the work that you do reaching out to one another. And again, we just want you to give us a shout out if you get something published so that we can share in that happiness and also help you to explore that. And I really don't have anything else other than to answer questions for you, but I want to thank you for trusting us to put something together like this, a platform where you can connect globally.
Thank you, Dr. Marianne. Are there any questions? Very exciting to, officially launch the consortium and having folks get involved. Anyone have any questions? about it. I had also put the link in the chat, and we'll send some follow-up emails as well for folks to get involved. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to hand over to Miriam, and she's just going to ask a few questions so we can best prepare for our future events. So Miriam?
Thank you, Abigail. I will share the slide. Yes, thank you all for attending. Thank you, Dr. Matete, for a very insightful presentation. And thank you, Marianne, for creating this platform for research. If you have 2 minutes, please you can scan the code to fill out the survey so that we can keep on delivering and organizing events that are meaningful to student affairs professionals.
We just want to take a couple of minutes just to scan. I can also put the link in the chat as well. Oh. Okay, the link is in the chat. I just realized I didn't put the consortium one in the chat. Right. Is everyone able to find the link and open it up? Give you some time to fill it out, about a minute more. All right, so now I'm gonna hand over again back to Dr. Lisa to just wrap us up and also share some IASAS updates with everyone. So
Yes.
Dr. Lisa.
And maybe we could do a picture. So I'll give you guys 5 minutes to look pretty for a minute. But anyway, let me just share. So thank you, Miriam, so much for that feedback. So one of the things with IASAS is we operate virtually, as you know, and exchanging ideas, networking, and so forth. And we have webinars that will be coming up. Thank you for Miriam getting that feedback and sharing it with our little committee. You're also welcome to be on that committee. Just shoot me an email, inquiries@iasas.global. We have in-person things going on. We have our next Student Leader Global Summit will be in Ireland, and we'd love for you to host a student and also have staff come along. That was a very cool experience. I see Najer's here. He could share about his experience of bringing his student with him. We also have another Student Leader Global Summit in Albania in 2026. Wow, it's so crazy when you start talking about years. And our global summit will be in Toronto with Caucus and University of Toronto, Canada. So we're very excited. That's in October of 2026. I'm sorry, I will make sure I get you this right. Look at our newsletter. But as was told, please look at being a member of IASAS. It's very important that we have people that are committed to our international conversations we're doing like this and committed to our mission of sharing global practices, different models. Birgit did a great introduction of IASAS, what it's about. So please do join us. That would be fantastic. And lastly, one plug. We need a social media coordinator. So if any of you are interested or you have a staff member that wants to get involved, please let us know. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you. And do you want to try to picture now or is anyone?
Yeah, so thank you, Dr. Lisa, and thank you everyone for joining. So we like to just